Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Podclast. I screwed that up. All right, whatever. I'm Dave Claxton. Along with me, as always, is our frustrated filly of fitness, Bethany McChesney, and the woman who's winning for two, Lauren Weeks.
Hi. How are you guys feeling? I know you tested positive but didn't feel sick, and Bethany didn't test positive but did feel sick, right?
Super sick. Yeah.
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 I had all the symptoms, but I never I just did one of those little rapid tests at home, and it came back negative, but I had all the symptoms.
I don't trust those. So when I got sick, which was like just before you guys, I took an at-home test. I took a rapid test. Those were both negative, but I took a PCR test and that one was positive. And I felt terribly sick. So I definitely had it. I just, the at-home test and the rapid test both showed negative. So I don't fully trust them.
Yeah, I'm sure I would have tested positive. Everything was closing down that day anyways. So I was just like, I'm not obviously going into the gym or anywhere. So I'll just isolate and kind of act like I have it. So
yeah,
that was just so how long did it take you till you felt better, like in your chest?
Not yet. So it's definitely better than it was. I can still feel it like chest wise and a little bit breathing. But the worst part was like the aches and the chills and the fever, and that's gone.
Yeah.
So
yeah. When did you have it?
I tested positive on the 1st, and then I had it like that week after was really bad. And then I think it lasted a little bit longer than it probably would have had I like not been pregnant. I think it lasted longer than I think it should have. So better now, definitely better than it was.
I think those at home, those little quick tests, I think you can get like false negatives, but you're less likely to get false positive. I think that's the way they work, because mine was so different. Like I had a cold, or I felt like I had a cold back like a week ago. And I remember like there was this thing because we had this huge snowstorm and we're supposed to go to work that day. And I went to work and we're supposed to have tests there. And I'm like, okay, I know if I have cold symptoms, I'm not supposed to go to work, but I'm really sure that I just have a cold. So I'll get them to bring me out one of the work tests. I'll do the test. If it's negative, I'll go to work. If not, I'll go home. Well, we found out we didn't have any tests left at work, so I had to go home anyway. And then I got a test from a friend that night and was negative. It was good. So it worked all that week. And then that was the week before. And then that morning, getting ready to go out the door, I did the test to make sure. And
for you, it's really worth getting it because you might not be able to get back.
Oh yeah, I would have been stuck.
Yeah, you would have been stuck.
Well, and think about it too, how flawed the system is. So I could have went across, I would have tested, like my plan was drive across the border, get to Chicago. There was a testing place like 7 minutes from the race venue. And I was going to go there right away, get my test done. And then that's it. I wouldn't get the results for at least 24 hours. Then I'm going to be around seeing everybody, hi, hugs, handshakes, whatever.
Lots of people too. Like the place was filled.
Yeah, I'd be infecting the world and then get my test results after the race and be stuck there for, I don't know, 5 to whatever many days. So yeah, it's a bit of a flawed system.
Yeah. And to be stuck, like, and it could have been longer than 5 days because they won't let you back until you test negative. So who knows?
Yeah, exactly. But I was prepared. Thanks to Ariel. I was prepared. I had this insurance that would cover my hotel stay and my food and all that stuff if I tested positive for COVID and got stuck down there.
Wow.
It was like $150 a day for lost income from work.
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was crazy. And it was like $12.72.
Dang. Yeah. Worth it.
I know. I should have went anyway just to use it and have the hotel.
Would have gotten a week vacation.
Yeah, exactly. So like we said, you had COVID, you're pregnant, and then all of a sudden you're going to go to Hyrox and kick ass. How do you come to that decision?
I planned on going to Hyrox like regardless of the pregnancy, as long as my doctor said it was okay. So like I've had a couple events like before I told everybody that I was pregnant that I did compete in as well. And each one, like I would go to her and I would kind of get permission. She'd check me out. I actually got more blood work done in the earlier events, like to be allowed to do it than I did this past one. This past one was just like more an in-person physical check, like vital signs and all of that. And she said I was good to go. Like I explained like what the workout was. I explained what we did. I told her like my main concern was the burpees, and she knew what those were. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. You can do that. She's like, there were like a couple stipulations that I would have to stop if I felt certain ways. So, like if you felt dizzy or lightheaded, then you have to stop, and just kind of call the race. But beyond that, I had planned on doing it. The one thing that made me think that I might not race was when I got COVID, because I felt terrible. Like I felt awful. I wasn't working out. So I had a couple weeks of like, I still ran, because I don't usually go very fast when I run anyway. So it was a nice, easy pace. I did have some full days off, which I don't often do. But I didn't strength train for probably 3 weeks. And that was brutal. I like Sunday and Monday trying to get up and down stairs was like grabbing the sides of the wall and the railing, and it was brutal.
So did they have you also during, because when I was pregnant, and this was a lot before, heart rate was a big thing. So when I was working out, it was always about monitoring heart rate and not letting it go above a certain number. Did you have to do any of that?
No. So, and I've looked into studies on my own, and I talked with her as well. She doesn't want you exerting too hard, but I explained like, hey, this is a competition. Like I'm definitely going to be exerting. She's like, okay, well, as long as you don't feel like dizzy or lightheaded or you're going to pass out, like your body's used to it. Like you can still do the things that your body has been used to doing. It's just like, you can't do a new stimulus.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't tell me that I had to keep track of my heart rate at all, but I have seen like studies based on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, you don't want your body temperature getting up for too high too long. So like summer outdoor races would be something I'd be a little bit more concerned with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so different, like with different people too, right? So this is something when I was pregnant too, and there was athletes at that time who were runners, and I'd watch what they were doing, and my pregnancies were not easy on my body either. And I was like, and my coach at the time was like, you should be able to do this. This person is doing this. And I was like, I couldn't do it. Like,
no, and everybody's different. Like
yeah. And pain and like pains and stuff with hips and like, and also some people can't do physical activity. Like, I think it's important that people realize that just because one person, you were able to, like, you won the North American Championships in Hyrox, 4 months pregnant, it's not like the next person who gets pregnant is still going to be able to perform at their previous level either. Like there's things with like even the position of the placenta where like you can't do physical activity, or the shape of your uterus where you could lose the baby. Like every pregnancy is so different. And I mean, obviously your body is handling the pregnancy remarkably fine to be able to do that. So yeah, it's good for people to realize that it's not necessarily the norm that people can still perform. Like
no, it's not. And that can change. Like I could be okay right now, which is why I need to continue checking in. Like just because things are going fine now, it doesn't mean that everything's going to be good and safe and going fine later on. Like my blood pressure could change, like my heart rate could change, my respiratory rate could change. Like that, just because it's fine now doesn't mean it's going to be fine in 2 weeks, doesn't mean it's going to be fine in a month. Like things, anything can happen. Just kind of have to pay attention to it. And you can still get different signs of different complications later on. So I won't be out of the clear like ever. I'll continue to keep getting checked.
Yeah. Well, and it's good you have a doctor also that supports you and is open to even considering, because I think a lot of times, I know when I was pregnant too, people and doctors included would get very upset at some things that I was doing. And it's a lot of misinformation. It makes some people very scared too. So a lot of times I find it's just easier for the medical professional to just say, just don't do it. like, why do you have to do this now? Just wait till, but I think it's good then you have a doctor who still supports what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that. So I'm working with a physician that has like worked with women that have done like competed pretty high level, like marathons as well. So she's worked with athletes before, and like she has explained too, like things can go well now, but that doesn't mean that it's going to go well later on. Like it's just, you have to continue to keep checking in.
Mm-hmm.
So
I disagree. I think this is absolutely the norm, in that all you other people who are pregnant and not winning Hyrox National Series are slacking off. Now you really need to.
I'll say I didn't feel great through the event. Like I definitely felt different racing and running in it. But I think a big part of it was because of like all the strength training that I had to take off work from being sick. Like my legs just didn't want to go anymore.
Honestly, you know, without tooting horn, this is like the most amazing thing that I've ever seen from like a pregnant woman do. It's unbelievable. I was really impressed back in October when we saw Samuel Hebert's wife Jade. She did the Spartan Super at Blue Mountain. Well, I don't know, 6 months pregnant, 5 months pregnant, something like that.
But yeah.
And the fact she did that, that's impressive. But she did it, and she decided she was going to do all the man's weights instead. So I watched her do that, and I thought, like, that's impressive. And then you go out at 3-4 months pregnant and decide to win a Hyrox event, and not just any old event. You won like against the best of the best. Like it just blows my mind. It was incredible.
It's only going to get harder from here. So 4 months, like, is still pretty early. Even a month from now, like things will, I will physically look a lot different in 4 weeks from now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And physically, people look very different at 4 months. Like, you still don't look pregnant to me. Like, I very much looked pregnant at 4 months.
Well, I mean, I think like we all analyze ourselves a little bit more, so I can tell, but like maybe other people can't, but I can definitely tell.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
During the race, I was like, because you know, you had you on the camera a lot, you were out front, and even I went back and watched Hyrox's Instagram live, and I'm like, yeah, she doesn't look pregnant at all.
Oh, well, I feel like I do. It's just clothes can cover it a little bit. I really wanted to, I mean, like more body image thing. Like I really wanted to race in pants, but when I was warming up, I just felt overheated. I was like, well, that's worse. I'm not supposed to overheat. I'll just put shorts on, whatever.
Mm.
So I switched.
Mm.
So how about like just the feel of the race in general? I mean, you are, like I said, you were out there against top-notch competition. You had Rachel out there, you know, you and her battled back and forth. There was just a lot of good talent out there. How did you feel going into the race? Did you know you'd be able to push yourself to that limit, or were you going to the race going, I'm going to do what I'm going to do and just let my body tell me how hard to push?
I had no idea. I haven't done an intense effort in a long time. My plan was to go out with the same intensity that I normally would go out in an event like that. And if it turns out that my body couldn't handle it, then I would just back off. But I wanted to make sure I went out with that same intensity, because I would hate to like feel really good in the back half and then be kicking myself for like, oh man, I should have pushed it in the beginning. So I didn't know how it was going to go, but I did plan on still going out with like the same hard effort.
I know it was before, like just before the race, we were thinking for a while, I was thinking, okay, you might not be there. And then if you're there, you might not be, full speed. Rachel was a game time decision. We didn't think she was going to be there. It would look like it might be a bit of a weaker field. Again, with Rebecca Hammond not being in it anymore. And
there was rumors she was going to show up.
I heard this too.
Till that day,
I kept looking around. Even when they sent us out on our first like 1,000, I heard them announcing her name again. I was like, where is she? Like, I do not see her. Where is she?
We'll have to try to get in touch with her and see what happened, because I had heard too that she was going to be there. A lot of people were saying she was going to be there, and she was.
It might not have even been her. It might have just been somebody else saying that, and then it just kind of spread. But I thought she was going to be there. I definitely heard the announcer say her name, and I'm looking in the middle of my first run for her, and I was like, I have no idea.
Well, and Alyssa Hawley coming out too. That was another one that came out, and Sarah Harrison and Terry. Like it ended up being a really strong women's.
We had a lot of last minute like signups.
Yeah.
which was really cool. It made that like heat a very big competitive heat, which is exciting.
And well, I mean, just watching Alyssa Hawley really stepping up her game, it was good to see, because I like seeing her get into it. You know, just this is a space that she needs.
I think this is a very, very good event for her.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's gotten to do as many as I have, and it's a ton of experience. So I think she still has like tons of room to improve.
So you're running the race, everything's going well. You said you went on just like normal, and so you must have been feeling pretty good. How did everything go? Like, I mean, you got to the sleds, and then you and Rachel were fairly locked in at the sleds there. How did the sled at this race feel compared to others? Was it the same? Did it go a little bit different?
It felt terrible.
So
it was I don't know. I felt like it took everything in me to move it. And I got down one length without stopping, but it destroyed my legs. And then I stopped so many times for the next like 3 lengths after that. And so I don't know if that was worth it.
On the pole, it looked like the sleds were coming off the carpet. Like I saw that.
They were.
Yeah.
And I've never had that happen before. No, they were coming off the carpet, which makes it easier because obviously the sled is slowed down by the friction of the carpet. So like I would tell the judge, like, well, I have to yell because there's not an actual judge per lane.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not on the carpet. And that is a ton of effort in itself, but the sled's moving easier. And I think it happened in a couple lanes. And then, so somebody moved it back. I don't know if it was just a judge or an employee. So somebody moved it back onto the lane, which is good. Like it should be back on the lane, but they weren't nice enough to straighten it out. So when it got back on the lane, it's like sideways, which makes it really hard to pull. I was like, okay, so, I mean, I get that I had a bit of an easier pull for like part of it, but now I can't get it to straighten out. Like couldn't make it go straight. So I didn't like that because like I don't want to think or feel like I feel like I'm getting away with this being easier for this like half of a length. And then I don't like having to raise my voice to like tell somebody to do something about it because I don't want them to think I'm yelling at them, but somebody has to do something about it. And then I really didn't appreciate that they put it on sideways.
Well, how do you think, like, honestly, this sled thing is something that Hyrox, I still think, really needs to address. It's a great movement to have in the race. It's perfect, but they need to address the way it's done. How would you fix it? Like, how would you make it so that this could work better? Because whenever there's an issue, it's always the sled.
Yeah, but I've never, like, this is the first time I've ever seen it happening. Which is why I'm kind of surprised that it happened in a couple lanes, like not just one lane. So I don't know how to fix it. I don't know if it was a fluke. I don't know if the carpets were slightly more narrow than they usually are, or just maybe if they were set up, like maybe they weren't set up in the middle to begin with, or how they're hooked. I think they're hooked up by carabiners though. So it shouldn't be like, oh, it's hooked up to the side. So it's going to move to the side. The only thing I can think is to just make the carpets a little bit wider. But I also don't know if that was like a fluke time because I've never seen it happen in a race before.
Yeah, I've never seen that particular thing. But
they were also talking about with the push, it was on some lanes because some people talked about getting a bad lane where it was really, really bumping up and waving.
I think that happens at a lot of different like venues or events. I don't think it was just this one. I think sometimes there's going to be a bubble in a lane, and most lanes have like a bubble here and there, and then it's just kind of tough to push through in that spot. And you should expect it, like it's going to happen at some point in your lane. I would advise to just get past that part with grit and then continue. I don't think there's really too much that we can do about that one. Like sometimes the carpets just aren't perfectly flat, but no, they are tough. They are definitely tough.
I think they should take the carpet and put it on the bottom of the skis of the sleds. And then that way you're just pushing on the floor. The carpet goes everywhere with the sled. It's already on it. And that way you have the same consistency for every sled.
Aren't there some floors where it's a carpeted floor?
I haven't seen that. Have you?
If I haven't paid close enough attention to it.
Well, you'd be running on it if it was carpeted floor, wouldn't you?
Oh, in that case, no, I haven't ran on a carpeted floor.
Like I know they've had deck at like turf stadiums, like kind of like in the indoor soccer. So that's a little bit different, but
it's always cement floors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only ran on a cement floor. They're different types of cement. Like they're definitely not all the same. Some are more slick than others. But I definitely haven't ran on a carpeted floor.
So that's it. I fixed it. You got to put it on the bottom of the sled. It'll work. I'm telling you.
Wait, so if we put it on the bottom of the sled and then the floor is a normal floor though, isn't it just going to be like whoosh, and slide super fast? Sorry, I know it's the audio. Nobody can see the motions,
so more weight. You can put even more weight on it, then it'll be even better. Yeah, so I mean, it should theoretically be similar, right? If you take the carpet, turn it upside down, line the bottom of the skis with it, you'd be pushing that carpet against the floor. That would be your friction surface. So yeah, it would be easier, but it would be consistent. It would be
I'm all for the sled being easier. It's my least favorite station.
Me too.
But I have a feeling they won't do that.
No, if anything, it'd be kind of nice to make it a little harder to slow some of them fast people down.
No.
Yes.
I would love if they made the sled easier, but I don't think I'm ever gonna win that battle.
I was actually going to claim victory for my age group because at first, when I first started checking scores, this came out of the blue. Started checking scores. There was nobody in my age group, so I was just going to randomly declare I won.
Which age group are you again?
45 to 49. But it turned out there was a couple of guys, so damn it, screwed my plan. But
so
you know what? I would have won. God damn it.
Are you gonna try and go to another one so that you can qualify for Vegas?
I officially got transferred to Boston today.
Oh, exciting.
So yeah, I was actually a little worried, and thank you, Hyrox, for I guess maybe bending the rules a bit, because you are supposed to ask for, if you want to transfer or defer, you're supposed to ask 7 days in advance. They were understanding of the situation and did the deferral for me. So I really appreciate that.
Nice. Yeah.
The other one too, you know what? And I'm going to say this because I forgot to say it before. The hotel in Chicago. Oh, what was it called? The I don't know. It was the main hotel that Hyrox was using. Obviously,
was it the one on Navy Pier? Did they use the one? Okay.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, I had to cancel obviously that morning, and they didn't take my deposit, and they were nice enough again to let me off with a free cancellation. So
he just sent the picture of his his positive test.
Yeah,
that was really nice of them. That's awesome.
Because they would have been well within their rights to at least charge me at least one night, and they didn't. So that was very cool. I just wish I could remember the
really
name
nice
of the hotel. Sable on the pier. Yeah, Hilton Sable on the pier. That was it. So in Chicago, stay there.
Yeah, until this time around, I didn't even realize there was a hotel in Navy Pier.
It was like 7-minute walk to the venue. I was very excited.
Yeah. Like inside, you never had to go outside.
Oh.
See,
you got to be inside the whole time.
Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you went through the sled push, you went through the sled pull, everything was going good. How are you feeling after that? Because I noticed your run times were pretty decent. You stayed pretty steady. And so was everything just feeling normal? And when did you, like, you and Rachel were battling pretty good, but you seemed like, again, you were just inching away as you went along.
I actually haven't looked at my splits yet, so I don't know what my run times were. I wouldn't say that they felt as comfortable as I'm used to them feeling. And so then
averaged around like 10 seconds slower than you would normally, but you were still pretty fast until your last run time.
Until the last one.
So a minute slower.
With the last one, I will say that we had to run an extra lap on the last 1,000.
What?
Yeah. So
put up your lap times here. So look at this technology, share screen.
Yeah. So like normally you run extra in either like your first 1,000 or your last 1,000. This time we ran like a little bit extra in our first 1,000, and then we ran a lot extra in our last 1,000.
Yeah, so 503 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is the worst run to begin with anyway, right after the lunges. That always seems like it's the slowest run anyway, and then they've added distance on there.
Yeah. And I'm glad they reminded me. So they reminded me before, like right before we took off. They're like, hey, just so you know, that last 1,000 is 3 laps, not 2. And I'm like, what? That wasn't the video that was sent to us. But I'm glad, because I would have gotten a time penalty, that they had reminded me.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't say reminded, because it definitely showed in the video too. They let me know. Is probably the better term.
It was again a strange setup. I get how they're doing that, because they're making a nice big finish into the final entryway, and that's cool. But it just always seems odd that like 2.5 laps and then 3 laps, and it is a bit confusing. It's obvious why a lot of people do too many or too few laps sometimes.
So I don't know how accurate this is, but like one of the Hyrox employees from Germany I was talking to, and he was saying that they're changing it so that they're trying to make it more standardized. So they're going to make every event and every course have, so you run your 1,000s 8 times, but because of the rock zone and the extra, they're trying to make every course equal 8.7K. So like we ran 8.7K. So I'm assuming that they made us do that extra last lap to equal the 0.7.
All right, that's interesting. I mean,
they said that they started that in Dallas, and that's how it's going to be moving forwards. I'm curious to see if they're also doing that in Europe, though.
Yeah,
I feel like they would be.
Yeah, I don't care about the distance. It can be 8.7, 8.3, 8.2, but as long as it's the same every time, it makes it a lot better. I love
That's
that.
what they were saying, is they're making it the same every single time, and they started it in Dallas. So I think like the European Championships are in like a week and a half. So I think we'll be able to tell from their rock zone whether or not they also had like an 8.7.
I'm just looking at this going 357 for 100 wall balls at the end of all that. That's just fantastic. And that was the 5th fastest. You guys just killed that.
I was really struggling on the wall balls this time. I'll say that. Very much. My legs were just giving out. Like by the time the lunges came, and then like with the wall balls still left, I didn't have the, oh, there she is. I didn't really have the leg conditioning to continue that strength. So again, I don't know if I'm doing any more races from here on out. If I'm allowed to and I can and I feel good, like sure, I'll do them. If that was my last one for a little bit, like that's great too. But I do know that now that I'm not sick, I'm going to put some strength work back in, so I don't feel as like leg and glute and quad trash by the time I get to the wall balls.
When you were at the wall balls, I mean, you looked like you were very comfortable and controlled lead, but then Rachel was definitely making up ground on you on the wall balls there, especially.
She was moving super fast.
Like at any point were you starting to think, oh, I'm in trouble here?
The whole race I was thinking that. I didn't start at the wall balls. That was the whole race. She actually, gosh, I should have looked at the splits. I think she probably made up even more ground on the lunges. I feel like she caught up a lot on that too. But again, I haven't looked at the numbers, so I don't know for sure, but I feel like she got a lot of time there.
Well, we can see here, you were 344 on your lunges, and Rachel was 309.
Yeah, that's a significant amount of time.
Yeah, and she was 327 on her wall balls.
Yeah.
Which was the fastest time.
327.
I'd be surprised if anybody got below that. That's a fast time for 100 wall balls.
327 for 100 wall balls.
Did she just break once?
I think her breaks were just faster.
And I think her first break was about 40 in, give or take, somewhere around there, if I remember correctly from when we were doing the commentary. I think it was about 40 in. And
I'll trust you better because I have no idea. I was just praying to be able to stand up every time.
I don't know. I just looked at that. I thought, wow, I just couldn't believe it. Because I mean, I know for me, like anything under 5 minutes, I'm really happy about. So 3:27 seems like a mythical dream.
Well, you have to do that 20-pound to a 10-foot target.
Yeah, I'm not worried. Yeah, I get that, but I'm not as worried. It's just the speed that gets me. Like just the, yeah. I'm more like do 10, take 3 breaths, do 10, take 3 breaths, do 10, take 3 breaths, right?
I am more of the, okay, see what you can do in your first set and then try not to break too many times after that. That's what I go with.
I know, Beth, how were you when you did yours?
I tried to do sets of 20 as long as I could, and then somewhere around the 70 mark, it really falls apart with my upper body. Like sometimes I can only get like 5 or 6, and then I can't lift my arms. It's all about my upper body to me. It just like totally
you going to Boston too?
I'm considering it. Yeah, I have to decide at this point where I really focus. Whether I completely shift to OCR and just put in a big block, or if I do Boston, kind of like put in another cycle of Hyrox training. So I would like to. So if I can make it work, then I'll probably go to Boston. Yeah.
Are you signing up for any of the DECA events?
That's what I think she needs to.
Yeah.
I would love to. Again, a lot of the DECA events are not close to us, but there's one in Chicago in July that I might try to get to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do that.
So Chicago closer than Boston to you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, about an hour. But
yeah, just
similar, but about an hour. It's both drivable.
Okay.
I think but
I hear you drive really far. So what's drivable to the normal person?
Right.
Like I think Chicago's about 8 hours, maybe 8 and a bit.
Okay.
Boston's like 9 and a bit.
Okay. That is drivable.
Those are drivable. I mean,
I've heard like 24-hour plus trips.
Yeah. I have. I did. That was the famous TMX trip. Was I drove down to Miami to do TMX from Toronto. So.
I mean, at this point, I would drive anywhere to be able to do TMX.
It's the greatest ever.
I think, unfortunately, that opportunity is gone.
Somebody's, what there is and I'm going to do this.
There's so many people like in this realm too that would do so well.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to be able to see somebody like Rachel do one for like Chris and Tara and like Corinna to get back into it, and just like all these other athletes that are coming in that like don't necessarily specialize in one thing, but they're good at so many other things.
Yeah.
Never had the chance to try one.
I want to see our buddy Carolyn Prevost. She was down at that one and she was leading in the finals and everything was going great. She was putting in the fastest time, and then she just got stuck at Kong Infinity.
That one was scary, actually. That was like a very, very high obstacle.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on something that high. And I actually, because they have like different run throughs. So you run through, and if you're top 20, you go to the next one. And then if you're top 10, you go to the next one. So the first one through, I fell off of Kong and I felt like I was falling forever because it was very high. And then I was determined to not have to fall that far ever again. So made it through.
So there's a local race in Florida called Native X. And there's running, there's obstacles, and there's fitness stations. And I swear I'm going to make the trip down there to do that one.
Native X.
Native
I've
X.
never heard of that.
Yeah, and it's in Florida. I can't remember what city in Florida, but it's a smaller local event, but it just looks really good, and I really want to go. And the obstacles look fairly decent. Like they have like a ninja rig style thing. It looks well done.
Are they a new company, or is this something that's been around for a while?
I think they've been around just for a couple of years, and they're not like moving around. It's just the same place every time. And it's like 500 meters in between. I think you do 500 meters and then you do like an obstacle and a fitness station. Then you do 500 meters and an obstacle and a fitness station. So it looks really cool. I would definitely.
I mean, that's even more running than TMX was. Like at some points we were running a couple of yards before we were on something else.
Oh yeah, yeah. TMX was only a mile. Like it was just
Yeah.
never really ran that far at all. But it was the best event ever. Totally was.
Yeah.
So glad fun. I got to do it. Yeah. But I'm with you. Bethany needs to do a DECA, and she needs to. That's where the focus needs to be. I mean, there's not even a question.
And there's a championship for that one. Championships are fun.
Yeah, in Tampa Bay in November.
Wait, what? I thought it was in Atlantic City.
Oh, Atlantic City.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
In November.
That's drivable. So it's Tampa Bay.
That's what I say. I think both are for you.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't drive to Vegas. There you go. I flew when we went to Vegas, and we didn't drive to Red Deer. Flew to
Would you drive to Vegas this time if you go?
No, probably.
16?
Vegas is like a 32-hour drive, I think.
Wow.
Oh, but Dave, that's not a drive.
I would do it if I was like staying a long time. You know, like if I was staying a long time, because then it's like a road trip holiday. It's exciting. It's fun. You know, you could do like Route 66 and all that jazz.
Well, at that point, that's like towards the end of May. So I feel like it's highly unlikely that I'm going to be doing that one. But either way, I want to be there. I'd like to go. So there's lots of like different hiking trails if you guys are staying a couple extra days before or after. If anybody wants to take a little Hyrox hike.
I'd be down for that. When I was down there last time, I did the touristy stuff, and I went down in the Grand Canyon and did the Red Rock.
There's a national park called Red Rock that's like right there.
Yeah, I did that. We drove around that. That was awesome.
It's beautiful, and it'll be warm, but I don't think it should be that hot in May that we wouldn't be able to go there.
Definitely. I would hope to go to Vegas, even if I don't get a chance to make it as a qualification thing, but even just to go. If I don't qualify, then that'd be a good excuse to try a relay or a duo or something like that.
Oh yeah, are they making the teams of 4 qualify, or can anybody sign up for that?
I think anybody can sign up, I think.
Because if nothing else, I feel like I could do a team of 4. I mean, all I have to do is run twice and pick 2 stations, right?
Well, technically, you could do 2 and 4 since you are 2 people.
Yeah, there we go.
What is your due date?
July. So like directly in the center of July. Yeah. So our hometown, like the closest race to me, which is a Spartan race, is the Utah one on, I think it's July 10th. So that one's not happening. Like the one that like I literally can sleep in my own bed and just kind of go and have a good time. I definitely won't be there for that one.
What do you think of the setup this year for the North American series?
I think it's cool. I mean, it like I'm new to it, so I don't have really any ground to stand on or any like background to complain about, because like I didn't have any of the privileges that I think like people have been used to having. I came into it like the way it is, and I just jump into races, and like I never and I wouldn't expect to get help. Like I never had been given any assistance to get to these races or do them or anything like that. So I think it's a cool idea to be combining like all 3 countries of North America, or like the big ones. So like, I don't know. I think it's hard to get to all of them. So I would have liked to have seen 3 out of 5 for people. But at least they're not making you do 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel the same. I know that a lot of people are finding the travel hard. Bethany, case in point, difficult to get to all of them. I think though, in the long run, I do think it's a good thing to have. I think it's a good setup. I think it will take time to get used to, but
I agree.
People will.
I do wish that the Canada race was earlier, a little bit earlier. I'm afraid, because I feel like that's one. I don't know. Will they still make you go in the water when it's that cold?
No, not this one.
Okay.
You actually, in Blue Mountain will not let you dig, so there won't even be a dunk wall.
Oh, beautiful. You might see me there.
It's not that cold here in October.
Actually, it was
really
the last race.
Like 20 degrees and sunny on the second day.
That sounds. So what about the one that they announced for the North American Championship? Will there be water in that one?
Oh, I would imagine probably yes out in Kelowna.
Mm.
But it's going to be warm then. Like that's a warm time of year.
It's hot in Kelowna then.
Oh yeah,
Hot.
August. It's
And-
going to cook.
Oh, it's in August?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is something
Oh.
actually I wanted to ask you guys about. So it's perfect that you brought it up. I was confused. This seems odd to me. Why wouldn't they have made Kelowna part of the national series in August and then had Blue Mountain in October as the championship race after the series is complete?
Because that makes too much sense, Dave.
I mean, I'm not knocking.
That's why.
I'm not knocking. It's cool. I know sometimes these things happen and decisions later on, so I'm not trying to come down on Spartan. It's my New Year's resolution to be a bit kinder and gentler.
That's way too logical.
But yeah, it seems odd. I mean, I was talking to someone else about it, and they were mentioning that too. And it's like that just seems weird. Why not do it this way?
North American champions have just always been in August, I guess.
No, has
Just
it?
kind of sticking.
Yeah, but why? We're changing everything else. Change that.
Well, it looks like they're still back in Abu Dhabi for their world championship.
Yeah. Maybe they think it's too close to Worlds if it was.
Maybe.
Well, I looked at
Well,
the
no,
schedule
it's
because my
not.
first thought was maybe it conflicted with one of the other races, but it really kind of doesn't. And I don't. It just seemed to make sense to me. I mean,
Right.
again,
I'm hoping to make it to some race that allows me to qualify for Worlds because I wanted to go this year and then I couldn't go. So I'm hoping to be able to go this coming year.
what are the
So that was one of the races that the doctor told me no, that I couldn't go to.
Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
Yeah, too hot.
It was hot, and then they were like really worried about the travel there.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, that's fine. I already had a plane ticket, but okay.
Oh, hopefully you got a good refund.
Well, Spartan paid for it, so maybe they got a refund.
Who cares then?
I think they, like, from my understanding, they gave money to a travel agency, and then the travel agency booked us all flights. So I don't think Spartan actually lost out on anything. It just would have been the travel agency that just didn't get the money that I was supposed to take a flight for.
After hearing what it was like, tense, no air conditioning, all that stuff, are you kind of glad you didn't get to go?
Yeah, so actually the story that made me think like, oh, maybe it was a good thing I didn't go was I listened to David Magida, and I think it was your podcast that he was talking to you guys on, and his recap of it, I was like, oh, that sounds terrible. I don't want to be followed to the bathroom and like just people purposely revving their engines next to your tent. And so I did have FOMO over watching the race because it looked so different and like a once in a lifetime experience. So that part I was sad to miss, but the travel and the stay, it was good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to run down that sand dune. That was it.
Yes.
The only thing I was that looked so much fun. Just because.
It looked so fun, and it would look like the first time I would not be scared running downhill.
Exactly. It would just be let it go. Because what do? You just roll around in the sand if you fall. It's no big deal.
Swallow some sand, and then that's it. Get up and keep going.
I'm all for that. I like running downhill anyway, so I thought that would be even better. Just full send, boom, gone.
Yeah. So.
Right. So obviously, like you say, you're gonna get to Vegas. The chances of you competing are pretty slim. So that said, if you're able to remove yourself from the equation, who do you think would be the favorites for the women's field going into Vegas?
It's so hard to tell. So like even going into this race, I was kind of bummed at the lack of support I saw for Tara, because I think she has the potential to do really well. I think she just didn't necessarily have a good day this past weekend, but I think like even if she had like slept another night, like, or if she had redone it on Sunday, like I do think that she has the potential to put down a really good time. I couldn't believe how much time Chris took off from just what was it, like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
So she's obviously like on an upward swing, and she's only going to be getting better. So I think the both of them are going to be contenders. Rachel, of course, is like an easy pick for probably like the biggest contender, like her and Viola. I saw, so Rebecca Nather from Germany has been putting down some good times, but again, like I try and take it with a grain of salt, like because their courses are slightly different. I think people have heard. So she has put good times down there. What I'm curious about with Viola coming over here, because she has the potential to win, but obviously so does Rachel. Rachel definitely has like more than enough potential to win, but I think Rachel has the edge because she's used to the sleds over here, where Viola is used to the sleds that kind of like let you run with them over there. So I think it'll be a shock to the system to come over here and have to push something that is that much harder. I will say that Viola's sleds are stronger than mine, even when we're using the easier ones over there. So she can definitely push the ones here. But if you're not mentally prepared for that, like it's different. So.
What about someone like Sarah Colty, who's another, a stronger woman in this, who maybe could benefit from the heavier sleds?
I think she could definitely benefit for the heavier sleds. I think she has like probably well, I can't say that because Chris runs 100-mile races. So besides Chris, she has like the best like overall engine out there. But her speed is not quite as fast as some of the other ladies. So I think Hyrox is kind of too short for her to necessarily shine. I think she'll definitely benefit and like gain some time on the sleds, but I don't think she has quite the leg speed and turnover to keep up with some of the other girls for that short of a race.
It's funny to hear it called that short of a race.
Well, I mean, so it's a little bit over an hour, and like she's used to doing like Ironmans that take 8-10 hours, however long they take.
And what about the men's field? Were you shocked to see Kent get the better of Hunter on this one?
Not really, honestly.
Kent has been so fit this year.
Like I think we all always go in expecting Hunter to win, which is a lot of pressure. Like that's a lot of pressure to have, and like he never outwardly shows that. And I wouldn't expect someone like Hunter to show that there's a lot of pressure on him, but there's no way he's not feeling that. And I think like Hunter could win anytime he steps up to that race, but I'm not shocked that Ryan won. Like not at all. Like you see the work that he puts in. I think it's helpful that he has other things like on his plate and on his mind, and to not only be focusing on the athletics. I think it's a lot when your sole focus is athletics, which for Hunter, he has tons of businesses, but like that still is like a big focus for him, where Ryan has all these other things to kind of like release and let go. And when it's time to train, like it's going to be very specific and dedicated, and then it's in and out. So he's not like wasting time doing fluff. And he's fit, like he looks fit. So we saw them at the Spartan Games back in October. And I can definitely see a difference in his body composition. Like he is fit right now.
I think it's because he cut off the man bun and shaved his mustache.
Let's wait.
Mustache.
That hair was weighing him down.
The mustache was
I actually didn't even realize he did that.
I think this must have been before Lauren's time.
The man bun or the mustache?
Man bun.
Oh yeah. He had a really solid man bun going.
Okay, I was like, I don't really remember him having a man bun. Did he have a man bun? I feel bad.
No, it was probably 4 years ago now.
But the man bun wasn't as bad as the mustache. The mustache, like at the first Spartan Games, that was in full kind of 70s weirdo creep phase. Sorry, Ryan. It just was.
I think like in Vegas, those boys are gonna have a battle though. Like Ryan Kent, Hunter, Tobias is gonna be back up there. I don't know if Lucas is coming. And then Rich Ryan is only getting faster. What did he PR by like 7 minutes?
7 minutes.
That's insane. Like that's absolutely insane. And he has how many more months before the next one to only get better?
Yeah, he
Um,
really dialed in on this.
and then of course Megita is always in the mix. So it's just and then we have Dylan Scott too, who is I mean, puts more work in than anybody I've ever seen.
You can't help but smile when you see Dylan Scott run, when you do these races, or you see what he's been doing for training. It just makes you shake your head and go, wow. You know, like I'd love for him to write a workout for me or a program for me, but I would just be too terrified.
I think I think he's very well aware that what he does is not appropriate for like
the regular people,
the majority of people out there. So I think if he were to decide to write programming for people, I don't think anybody should be scared that he would over program for them. I think he knows that what he's doing is more than most people can handle.
Right.
I think the biggest thing that he does really well is there's no excuses for him. I mean, you see him putting out stories of him doing workouts in airport terminals. You know, just all of a sudden, oh, it's like here, and I'm doing this many rounds of burpees and squats and lunges, just anywhere and everywhere. Like he's just, I don't care who's watching, who thinks I'm a crazy person, I'm getting my workout in. And I think that is huge as far as an inspirational thing to no excuses, I'm getting it done.
And I don't blame him for that. The part that holds me back with that is I don't want to be on the plane all sweaty. Like, so I give him credit that he's willing to sit in his sweat. Well, I mean, I guess like these races that I leave like the day of, I also have to sit in my sweat, but it's dry by the time I get on the plane.
I think there's some airports that have little showers and stuff in them you can use. Maybe he's just got good access there.
Well, I think you need like special access to get to the showers. I don't get special access. Maybe Dylan has special access.
Maybe he just perfected the baby wipe situation.
Oh yeah,
that's possible.
The trailer park shower. Oh come on!
We'll have to ask him about that.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Do you just go and sit in your sweat, or do you take a little like trailer park shower?
Yeah.
Or are you able to get into these real showers?
He's not a very big guy. He might be able to get under the sink, you know.
I just get there. Those are hard. It's hard because they're automatic. Sometimes I have to hold like one hand in front of the sensor and then put the other one under the water just to like get it to go.
I agree. And I've dealt with, I work in an industry where we do a lot of plumbing, and it's terrible. Those automatic sinks are the worst things in the world.
Yeah.
They never work. And then you put your hand under and you pull it away, and then it starts to work. And by the time you get your hands back under, it stops again.
Yeah.
Anyway,
making me think all about this Vegas stuff. I will tell you, if I feel comfortable and I'm allowed to race, no matter how slow it'll be, I will do it. But that's a lot of stars aligning.
I could just imagine that would be that's some pretty good Instagram stories from that.
Yeah. Well, I think they're taking the top 15 times, and so the owner of Hyrox was there this past weekend, and he's like, oh yeah, so you're not doing Vegas? I was like, well, I mean, probably not, but like, don't count me out. Like, I still want you to send me the invite. Like, let me turn it down if I'm gonna turn it down.
Yeah.
Like, don't like not send me the invite because you think I'm definitely not doing it. But from my understanding, they're going to take the top 15 times worldwide, and those are going to be the ones in the heat.
Now, did they say, are they going to do a rollback, not a rollback, like a roll down for, say, let's, for example, say Viola says, I can't go. Are they going to roll down?
I think that they will. So like, most likely I'm not going to be competing. So like, my time would, not my time, but like my spot would roll down. Yeah. I think, because I think they want that heat to be like 15 full.
Yeah.
So just question then, like you're going to be 8 months pregnant, almost. Would you give up your spot though? Knowing.
What do you mean?
Well, would you still race in that heat?
Well, it's indoors.
No, she means in that wave.
Like,
oh, I mean, if I'm allowed to, yeah. But I think the chances are slim. So it's May 10th or May 15th?
I think 15th.
So I'll be like 7 months then. Ish, approximately. So most likely, no, I'm not going and I'll give up my spot, but I still want my invitation. Let me turn it down.
All right, we'll do to wrap up, we'll do some quick rapid fire questions for you. All right. This is like
All right.
A or B kind of thing. All right. So Hyrox or Spartan?
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Put me on the
I didn't think
spot.
it'd be easy.
Honestly, I really like the Spartan races more. I'm just not as good at them. And I think it's just because I love being outdoors. I like the idea, like the functionality of Hyrox better. So I like that it's functional fitness and racing. Like I like that better, but I would like it even more if they put it outside and like on hills and terrain. So if they could combine the two, that would be my favorite.
So they would have TMX.
Yeah, and then they would have TMX. So the layout and everything, I like Hyrox better, but the venues and being outside and the hill running, so like not flat terrain, and like seeing all these really cool places, I like Spartan better. Just again, I'm not nearly as good at it.
All right, so flying or road trip?
Do I get to go in something like nice, or am I in a car?
Yeah, you get to go nice.
Oh, if I'm in like a nice van where I could go in the back and sleep, yeah, that's great.
You just described Dave's vehicle.
Yeah.
That I would do, because then I get to bring the dogs every time.
Well, yeah, and in the middle of the drive, someone can go and make a sandwich, and that's very important mid-drive.
Or if I want to pull a Dylan Scott, I can do my workout.
Exactly. Well, the
While we're
actors
driving.
have a pull-up bar in their van.
Yeah. Bring a dumbbell.
Yeah. Okay. If you had a pull-up bar and a 50-pound dumbbell, just think of the workouts you could do out of the van.
I would rather a 35. I can do more with a 35-pound dumbbell.
Yeah. Now I feel good because I use 50. I'm a big man. Macho stuff. All right. Early start or sleeping?
Early. Yeah.
Burger or pizza?
Burger.
Nice. When you're running, music or podcast?
Podcast.
All right. Takeout or dine in?
Wait, you mean like cook food or takeout?
Yeah, like when you so that you go for food, you're going, it's date night, you're gonna go out for food. Do you eat in at the restaurant or do you take home and eat on the couch?
Oh, I see. I think I'd rather just take it home.
All right. Beer or wine?
Neither.
Ooh, wow. And the last one, and that works good with this, boy or girl?
It's a girl. Yeah, we found out on the plane going to Chicago.
They have doctors on those planes? That's crazy.
No, so I got a blood test. I got a blood test to find out. And they I got a text message saying my results were in as we were taking off for the flight. So I tried to click it super fast to be able to see. And then by the time it took me to the website, we didn't have service anymore. So I sat on the whole flight, the whole time, just waiting to land so I could open it up to find out what the gender was.
Well, that's awesome.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
I just gotta say congratulations on everything, Lauren. Congratulations on Hyrox. Congratulations on your baby girl coming now. And just what a year you've had, and thank you for all the entertainment and such.
No, thank you guys. Appreciate it. I like being able to listen, and you guys did a great job on the live feed for it.
That's mostly Bracken. Guy's great.
No, it was not mostly Bracken. He did a good job too, but you were a good team.
Thank you. Beth, wind us out.
Yeah, thanks so much, Lauren, for joining us. Congrats again on your remarkable performance this weekend. It was so inspiring to watch. And yeah, all the best and with the rest of your pregnancy, and we'll hopefully see you soon.
Thank you.